Welcome to Center Hice Productions. This is going to be a part of a special series I do in between games. You know, I'm hoping that it's just a 3 or 4 part series. I'm hoping it doesn't go longer, but I will let you know as each episode gets done. First, could you please hit the likes and the subscribe down below in the right-hand corner? Muchly appreciated. Thank you to all my followers. And please, if you're watching, hit the likes and the subscribes. Muchly appreciated. Tell your friends and family we're trying to grow the community. Just looking to grow a good, healthy, observant, different angle of a Habs channel. A little more realistic view-wise. Okay, so it is what it says. This series I'm doing is critiquing the state of the Habs depth, where we are, and just some of the comments that are going around on the internet, different podcasts, different experts, panelists, critiquing the Habs, and I'm kind of critiquing the panelists. Okay, so we want to come from an angle that there's no beating around the bush, and we're not making up BS on just because we love the team, and want to see it go in the right direction. But be honest about our state of affairs in Montreal. Okay, so the first, number one, and it's right on the front page, Josh Anderson. That's our first topic. I am so tired of it. To be on, I like this guy. When he talks, he seems like a really nice guy. So it's not about like or dislike the human being. It really isn't. It comes down to the verification is there. He's been in Montreal long enough. Sorry, John Tortorella had the exact perfect description of what type of player Josh Anderson is. He critiqued it to the perfect way. He was being honest, objective, and that's what we're going to do. For those who want to keep spinning the tires on how good Josh Anderson is, give me a break. Give me a break. I'm sorry. There's no way I can stand here when I watch this guy play. When I played, I liked the rough aspect of the game. Like, I like the defensive side of things. So I like the heavy hitting. And so I tend to like a heavy hitting team. Defense specialist. So that's my side. I do like offense too, don't get me wrong. I love Guido Flirt. I love Mario Lemieux. I love Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby, all these guys. But when a guy comes in and he's supposed to be a power forward, when I look at a power forward, I look at Shane Corson, Mark Messier, who was just a major power forward. These are the type of guys I want to see, in comparison. We had, there's a couple of guys we could have called John LeClaire. Those were power forwards. Josh Anderson, he may be big, a big winger. I do not know how he fell under a power forward description. Because under my submissions, when I look at the old Oilers, I look at the old Habs, just different blueprints. This guy doesn't fill the void of any of them. Number one, as big as he is, he's got tons of speed. He does not know how to hit. So he does not know how to use his physicality, plus he's lazy. So that doesn't help the issue. I mean, if you're going to run into the boards, you're just going to up our man hours of injury. And that's what he does. I'm not saying this to be rude to the guy because, like I said, I like this guy as a person. It bothers me to say this. But I'm sorry, as a player for the club I love, he's got to go. He does not fit the bill here, and he's getting special treatment. This is where my problem lies. Why are we rewarding Josh Anderson? Now, I didn't mind because I was the first one. I can go back to the tapes of all my videos. I knew he wasn't producing, but I was backing him because he was working hard. being objective. So saying, I can be in your corner if you're going to work hard. But when you're right back to what I criticized you for, you're if you're going to have things where you're cold and you're not going to work, well, that doesn't work. So, number one, to me, he does not fall under the power forward because he doesn't live up to it. He's big. Whoop-de-doo. There's a lot of big players in the league. My word. I mean, I remember seeing many guys as good as Hal Gill was. He wasn't much of a hitter, and he wasn't much of a skater either. But he did other things right. But at least he put the heart in. But Josh Anderson does not fill. He has no. Come on, you got to be into these areas of. You're not in the category of a Mark Messier or even a Shane Corson or even a Ty Domi. My word, give me a break. Even a Darcy Tucker. You don't fit the void. And these were small. Some of these guys were small, but they had grit and were power forwards. You do not live up to the expectations, and these critics who put him in this category, you're wrong. He's not a power forward. I don't know what he is, to be quite frank, because he does not utilize his strengths, and he's selfish. So we got this problem. But what is, if we could, we're expecting in Montreal right now for there to be a change in culture. I love that. And I love Marty St. Louis, but I got a little bit of a beef on right now. And my beef being last year, I thought Slavkovsky would have done much better in Laval because he wasn't getting the appropriate ice time. Marty was definitely making him pay the price because his play wasn't up to par for the National Hockey League. And I understood that his play wasn't there. I did not understand how the organization at that just wouldn't do the right thing, and so he could get touches down in the AHL. Different topic. But then I see, Jack-Eye. We love Jack-Eye's physical presence, and maybe they're saving that, and he's got to get back into game condition. And I think, if he takes this positively, he'll come back 100 times as defenseman. They'll work on the defensive zone thing. But and this is not for Jack-Eye, this is just for a comment towards the coaching staff so that they can see what the rest of the players are looking at. Okay, if the story is true that you came down on Jack-Eye, which I could have understood because he was taking foolish penalties, um, and with Geno, he made a bad decision and got his revenge, and it cost us that game. But that's not every game. We got defensemen making mistakes all over the place. So to me, that doesn't work in that area. I understand fixing his game and maybe you save him from fights and save him for when we need him to be fighting. Maybe right now in the rebuild we can just let him get better. That's fine and dandy. But what I'm trying to drive at is you got the rookies or the youngsters under a certain critique. But there was a time when you needed to sit even Gallagher. Now Gallagher is not there now because he's working as Twitch up. He's one of our better players right now. He came out of it. He's got his heart on the line. He can't produce, but boy, he's trying. This is the difference. That's effort. But there was a point where Gallagher should have been sat too. Some of the vets needed to be sat. Armia, you did the right thing and sent it to Laval. But you have to hold the veterans to the same accountability if you're going to want these rookies to see what's being expected. They cannot see double standards. And for Josh Anderson, there's double standards. You've had, we're almost at 30 games this season. He's had plenty of time to kick into high gear. You keep rewarding him, putting him on the power play, giving him the big moments. My God, I've never seen anybody look so silly in a shootout. When he had his turn, he looked ridiculous. He missed a wide open net last night. So to me, what happened, everybody, the critics, which made me laugh because he dropped the gloves a few games back and he scored an open net goal, you guys started saying, the critics or panelists, whatever you want to call yourselves, you started saying, oh, Josh Anderson's back. He had a great game. No, he did not. He just finally had a fight. Josh wasn't fixed by any stretch of the imagination. I even think Marty flawed in that area of commending him. It was great that he took the initiative to finally stand up and fight. That's great. He should have been doing that all the time. He's not serving any other purpose. And when Jack I not there, he should be the man. Him and Pizzetta. Even I can even knock Pizzetta in that area. Pizzetta is well, he gives you more effort than Anderson though. But he only produces for about 4 or 5 hits and then he disappears too. He's not the same Pizzetta. However, you do get effort out of him. And however, he doesn't get the ice time that Josh Anderson gets. What is going on with I don't comprehend this. The guy needs to be sent a message. I don't care if you feel bad. And, it's great that the team felt for me when he got that first goal. That's fine and dandy. That's called the team. Doesn't solve the problem. Josh has got to want to solve the problem too. And Josh has got to understand as a veteran, he has to be accountable too. And that's where I see Marty's lack of experience coming into play here. How are you rewarding this guy when he needs to be held to the same standard as the kids? I mean, you're holding the kids to a standard because you want a different culture. You've got to hold everybody accountable at the same level. Somebody's not playing, make a move and switch it up and put somebody who can use that. I mean, come on. You did the right thing as an organization and you sent Joel Armia down to Laval twice. And he's come back and he's by a landslide playing way better than Josh Anderson. That's crazy. This is one of the guys I wanted to see gone more than a lot of people, like him, a lot of players. And he is out playing Josh Anderson, and it's not even close. Something's wrong, but you're rewarding him. This is why I say there needs to be 1 or 2 veteran coaches in behind there assisting you because I think, Marty, I love you. And you're good for players to some degree, but you're not holding everybody to the same level of accountability. And it has to be right across the board to show what you're building here. That there's not 1 or 2 guys that gets a special ride, a free ticket out of jail. It doesn't happen that way. You want to set an example? This didn't happen in old grade. Even the team you came from, the Tortorella coached, this didn't happen on your team. So why are you bringing it in here as a coach? I don't get it. Because you didn't see it when you played. Montreal didn't do it as an organization way back when either. A player, I mean, come on, when Guy Lafleur got sat because he wasn't following the idea of how his performance wasn't up to standards for what his coach was asking him. And he didn't want to follow the guideline. That's to be expected. I don't care who you are. And any player who falls under that, there's always been accountability in Montreal. There's always been accountabilities on the teams that Marty St. Louis came from. So, Marty, please, if you're preaching one thing, and this goes to Hughes too, you're overseeing this as the general manager, and Gordon. If you got to talk to your coach and go, we love you, Marty, but what you're showing us, the fans out there, and the rest of this team, there's going to be a problem, attitude-wise, because you're holding the veterans to a different standard than the youngsters. If you want the youngsters to progress in the right direction and have a good culture, you've got to put the veterans under the same scope. There's no, sorry, Josh should have been sat many times this season for his lack of effort. He does not fit on any line. He brings down anybody that's down. This line here that he's working with, I think it's Monahan. I can't think. Is it Monahan and Gallagher, I want to say. Anyhow, this is the best he's done. However, those guys have been effective. They were producing more without him. So why are the Habs sending a message that we're going to go out of our way for Josh Anderson? When is it going to be Josh Anderson needs to go out of his way for his teammates? That's what's supposed to happen. Got the roles wrong. Marty, you're a great coach, but you're young. And I see this as your inexperience, where this is why I do say There needs to be changes behind the bench to assist you. Like, I don't care if you bring a Vinny LeCap. I'd love to see Vinny and Carbonneau somehow in that mix, the two of them. These are just names. A defenseman, I wish it could be Robinson, but he's probably not interested. But somebody of that caliber, maybe like a Chris Chelios, maybe something of that caliber. Maybe a Scott Stevens. I don't know. Somebody that's in the game. A Joel Quenneville. Uh, Maybe Joel Bouchard, had we have given him the proper opportunity. So anyway, that's just our first point. Josh Anderson, no matter how much we like him as a person, he must go. He is a square trying to fit him into a circle hole. It doesn't work. And we got to stop catering to him because that's all we're doing. Maybe he is a positive guy for his teammates. That's great, dandy. But you've got to fit and earn the time on the ice, and you have not earned a damn thing but being in. To me, I would have sent you to Laval, and I would have taken my chances in you being picked up on waivers, and at least your contract's gone. That's to the point I'm at. I'm fed up with watching you. I mean, I was in your corner until at least the 2 or 3 games ago, and you started falling back into that lazy mode again. It's one thing for things just not to be going in. I was back behind you because you were working hard. But when you fall back into lazy mode, see you later. You don't fit as it is. You're killing the team in all the different areas. Just you being a good teammate's not enough. It's not enough. You have to perform, and you have to show the team that, guess what? We have to earn our time on the ice. And this needs to be sent to the coaching staff. And this is where the GM may have to get involved. This is where Jeff Gordon may have to get involved and say, we got to set this straight. We got to curb this now before it gets out of hand because we're sending a wrong message. Let's keep everybody under the same expectations. Right? And like I seen these podcasts on last night's game because I'd forgotten Stefan Robitaille's name. We're going to be talking about him too in a future episode. This is only part one. I more wanted to focus on Josh Anderson in part one. We will be focusing on coaching issues, defense, major issues, but just a couple of comments because I was just blown away. Like, I've seen a couple of podcasts. I'm not naming them. Montreal played exceptional last night against Pittsburgh. No, Montreal had a good first period. Montreal fought in the third period, but they had a horrible second period. And the defense played well. What game were you watching? This defense core did not play well. David Savard played well out of the defense core, and Struble right behind him. The rest of that core, like I say, Barron's been coughing up the puck left, right, and center. And it's almost like Gooley has been starting to do that too, and Matheson's been doing it. I think Matheson's lucky that Savard covered a lot of his mistakes last night. But for me, Kusevich would be the number 3 right now. He's making mistakes, but not as many as those 3. I'm sorry, Matheson. Yes, he brings out an offensive side, but I'm talking about this defensive zone coverage. He's horrible. Barron's horrible. And Gooley has got to get out of this funk. Because last night, you can't come out in front of the net like that. That's a golden rule. Especially when you've got a superstar that is, a phenom, like Sidney Crosby. That guy's a genius. You can't come up in front of the net like that. You know better. But I got to nail you. You're my favorite player. And I'm nailing you. Because I got to be objective and honest. You can't do that, and you've been doing it a couple games now. So I almost say that you and Barron got to be separated because it's not working. You're trying to cover for his mistakes. Same thing. Matheson tries to do too much as well. You and Matheson both try to do too much, and you end up making mistakes because of it. And I think the big thing here is communication, and it's coming. This is where it will be the next episode on coaching, because I don't know what's going on with our defense corps, but like I say, David Savard right now is your number 1 guy. Jaden Struble is number 2. That's saying something huge. At least he's playing steady and not making a bunch of mistakes. He's playing good hockey. You can't take it from him. He deserves to be there. Number 3, Kovacevic is playing all right. He has ups and downs. But the other three, to be honest with you, if you're holding some guys to the standard that they got to go and fix their game in Laval, you got to open that door to the rest of them. Because I do not see how they're exempt. There's so much to fix in their games. And I mean, I don't know what it is, if it's a nervous thing with Barron, but that he seems to choke up just when he tries to rush or something. He just seems to have this mechanism in him. Whereas Gooley has the capability, we have seen it, like consistency. But it's just ever since for the last 3 or 4 games, and especially, it's really stood out that he's falling into this. It's like Barron's dragging him down with him, and they're playing almost very similar styles of games. I know their talent skills are beyond a couple of these guys, but they're not playing. They're making so many mistakes that they need to take the mistakes out of their game. And the communication is what we're going to be getting into the next 1 or 2 episodes on coaching. We're going to go into that. So the first one, clear out. And again, my message to, like I said last night, how can you say this was a great game? This was not the best game Montreal has played this season. Don't give me that. I can think of 3 or 4 games that were way better performances by the Habs. We gave this game away. That's a good performance. Give me a break. We played a good period. We have had way more urgency in a lot of other games, like our first game against Vegas. Certain games like that, we played really super well. No, this was not by. It was a good game, and we hung in and fought back in third to stay in it to push it to overtime. It was not our best performance. Period. Two, we stunk and we handed this game right back to Pittsburgh. That can't happen. So there's got to be accountability. Anyway, thank you for joining me. We will get to part 2 of this series in the next couple of days. Who knows? I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. But that's your first move. We have to eliminate Josh Anderson. Sorry. And it's got to be done. Stop waiting. He's not going to up his value. He can't. It's done. It's time to ship him out. You're wasting ice time from somebody else that could be utilizing that ice time. He just does not fit. I like him as a person, but he doesn't fit. And hold your players to the same accountability. So, where's the puck drop first? Here at Center Heights Productions. Thank you for following, and we will get into more topics in our next 2 or 3 episodes, special episodes of this series. So, puck drops here first at Center Heights. Please tell your friends and family, hit subscribes and likes, and we muchly appreciate it. We will catch you. Our guaranteed next video is after the Islanders game with the Habs, but I'll try to get another one of these videos out before then. God bless.